So it's Dr. Frank Ashall. I've been keeping a record of 2 or 3 weeks of power cuts and water cuts in my apartment in Ethiopia, in Addis Ababa, because I've said before that my apartment is sort of an expensive apartment. Most Ethiopians couldn't afford this. I'm paying about 8,000 birr a month, which is about $400, but most Ethiopians, on average, Ethiopians earn about $1,000 a month. So there would be 8 months' salary to pay for 1 month of my rent. So I'm kind of lucky. But you can see my apartment is fairly modest. But by Western standards, it wouldn't be that great. But it's actually quite wonderful by Ethiopian standards. And most people comment on how very, very nice it is. Of course, I do try to keep it decorated. But I'm actually clearing up right now and cleaning up. But anyway. Gena, which is Ethiopian Christmas, was just a few days ago. Fortunately, we had no power cuts on Gena in this area, but I'm sure some people did. Not that I know of we had any here. Often I'm not around, so I don't even know whether there's power cuts. But it's now January the 9th, and it's been a few days since I talked about my power cuts and water cuts, because I've been kind of busy and I haven't been in my apartment very much. I've been out and about doing things, meeting friends and planning things, what I've got to do. So I don't really know, but I'm in my apartment today. I'm leaving soon to go and get a few things done, and it's about 9:30 in the morning, and we've had a power cut again. You can see I'm turning my switch on and off, and there's no light. So it's another power cut. As I said, we've had them almost daily. There was a few days around Gena, Christmas, a few days ago when we didn't seem to have any power cuts in this area. But as I said, there's probably many power cuts around Addis, and of course in the rest of the country, lots of people don't even have electricity. They don't even have plugs in their wall, sockets in their wall. In fact, I visited an area of Ethiopia a couple of years ago in the countryside, and the people had no sockets for electricity, and the nearest town is about 20 kilometers, so they had to go by horse and cart because they don't have any vehicles there. They went by horse and cart. They go by horse and cart to the nearest town about 20 kilometers away, or they catch a bus if the bus happens to be passing their area. And they charge their cell phones in cafes in this town. That's the only way they can get any electricity, even to charge their phones. They have no television, nothing. In fact, one of the people in the family there, I showed them. I took some photographs on my cell phone, and they were kind of surprised. They'd never seen photographs of themselves, which is rather sad. But right next door to their home, there is a field owned by the Ethiopian billionaire, Sheikh Alamudi, and he's not very popular in the area because the land that the field that he owns there, the fields right next door to their home, they claim belong to them and their ancestors, and they were stolen from them by the government in what is well known as a process called land grabbing. And I spoke to many people in this area, and they told me that land really belonged to them, but the government took it from them and leased it out to this billionaire, Alamuddin, and he pays them 15 to 20 birr a day, which is it's less than $1 a day. That's what they get, and they have to survive on that, and it's absolutely terrible amount of money. But they told me, what can I do? I have to work. But they're working on what they consider to be their own land, stolen from them, grabbed from them by the Ethiopian government, and leased to this billionaire, Alamuddin, who is paying them less than $1 a day to work in their fields. And they're very, very upset about it, and they're angry. And it's not a surprise that there have been protests against this process of land grabbing and various other things that this Ethiopian government is doing for its people, which isn't a very good stuff in my opinion. But what I saw on this field was a massive piece of technology going across many fields. I'll be posting photographs of this on the web. I took photographs of these massive water sprayers, electrically run water sprayers, spraying these fields, and obviously the crops in the field were beautifully green. But the people who work in that field live nearby, and they have zero electricity. They have none in their homes, not even sockets. And they have no running water. They have no taps in their homes. All they have is a well, and they have to draw water from this well twice a day. At least one of the homes I visited, they were drawing water from the well twice a day. It was taking them 20, 30 minutes to get the water from the well to be used for everything, cooking, cleaning, everything. Meanwhile, Alamuddin, who with the government stole their land from them, is using electrically run massive pieces of technology to spray his fields with water. And those people have no electricity and only well water, and they're working. Those fields are owned, they say, by themselves. They've owned them for centuries, and the Ethiopian government has stolen the land from them and rented it out. And apparently, if you read what's going on with this land grabbing, it's been a complete failure in many ways. In Gambela, another part of Ethiopia, there are articles on this recently showing that it's a complete shambles. There's corruption, mismanagement, and the land grabbing hasn't really done a great deal. If anything, it's been negative for the economy of Ethiopia. But it's been very negative for the human rights of people in Ethiopia. Gambelans, for example, and Oromos, where land is being stolen from them, and they're living in poverty.